Hello, welcome to Lily Loves to Cook. I'm Leandria, and today we will be making macaroni and cheese, and I'm going to make it in this Ninja Foodi pressure cooker. It's a Tender Crisp. I have an 8-quart. This also will work in the 6.5 quart, and also if you have, Instapot, so it works in all pressure cookers. Okay, here are the ingredients. We have a pound of elbow pasta, 4 cups of water, 1 cup of heavy cream, 8 ounces of Velveeta, or cheese product. This is what they call it. And I have, this is a little more than about 11 ounces of cheese, shredded cheese, and I shred it. This myself, it's a sharp cheddar, smoked Gouda, and Monterey Jack blend. So, and then we also have our seasonings. Kosher salt, make sure it's kosher salt, it's 1 tablespoon. 1 teaspoon of black pepper. 1 tablespoon of onion powder. About a ½ teaspoon of garlic powder and a ½ teaspoon of mustard powder. I have 12 ounces of evaporated milk. And lastly, a 1/4 cup, it's like half a stick, of butter. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our elbow macaroni in. Then we're going to add our water, 4 cups of water. Do this carefully. Then we're going to do our 12 ounces of evaporated milk. Pour it on in there. Careful the splashing. And also with your evaporated milk, you want to make sure that you shake it real well before opening it. Okay. Then we're going to add our seasonings, our salt, kosher salt. This recipe says kosher salt. Please use kosher salt. I've had people who tried just regular table salt or pink Himalayan salt, and it was really, really salty. So recipe calls for kosher salt. Let's use kosher salt. Okay, next our black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and mustard powder. I just recently discovered this mustard powder. It is great for bringing out the flavor of the cheese. Really, really like it in there. So next we're going to mix it together. Oh, another tip with this evaporated milk, you don't want to let it sit in there too long before stirring, because I've done where I put the elbow macaroni in and then the evaporated milk, and my macaroni was like stuck together. So yeah, I would suggest make sure you put water in before you do the evaporated milk. Okay. So now that we have that mixed in good together with the seasonings and the liquids, we're going to get our pressure cooker lid. I'm going to go ahead and turn my Ninja on. Make sure I have it set to pressure. Go ahead and put my lid on before I go further. You want to make sure that your lid is set to seal. Yeah, but yeah, make sure it's in the sealed position. Slide that on there. Pressure cook high. We want it to put it on low. I find that pastas do better when you put them on low. High, they kind of tend to overcook, and then they stick real bad. Okay, and then for our time, we're going to do for 2 minutes. Okay, I'm going to press that start button. It's going to do a little building up of pressure. That will take probably about 15 minutes. How long pressure takes usually depends on how much liquid you have in there, or how, much food you have in there. So we'll come back with you and see how our pasta is looking. Okay, so we have pressure cooked our pasta for 10 minutes. After it came to pressure, 2 came up and it counted down until 0. I let it do a natural release. A natural release is you let it stay sealed. So we natural release for 10 minutes. So we've got about 30 more seconds to go. After that 30 seconds is up, I'm going to turn it to from seal to vent. Instead of, a lot of recipes will say to natural release. NR is usually the abbreviation for it. It's because it helps with to keep it cooking more, and but it's without it, still boiling. Or like if you're having chicken or any meat, really natural releasing for at least 10 minutes helps it to stay moist. Okay, we got our 10 minutes, so I'm going to take this over. Okay, it took about a minute and a half for it to quick release the rest of the pressure. So now I'm going to remove the lid carefully. And make sure, I know Ninjas will not let you remove the lid if it's not already all the air is out, so, or all the steam I should say, is out. Okay, so move the lid. Next, we're going to check and see how this is going in there. I'm going to go ahead and kind of mix up. May not be the prettiest sight, but it's going to get better. We're going to add our cheese product to it next. Add our cheese product. I like to add just one at a time and then mix for a little bit. Try to get that in there to melt. The great thing about the Ninja's pressure cookers is they hold in so much heat that it does not take very long for the stuff to melt. Okay, next I'm going to do our half a stick of butter. I like to have those chopped up into smaller pieces so we can distribute it better throughout our dish. Got a little bit left in there. Okay. Then I'm going to do a little more stirring. Get that butter throughout and melting. Okay, and then next, while that is, we have next up our heavy cream. 1 cup of heavy cream we're going to add. One of the things I like about making macaroni and cheese in the Ninja is you don't need to make a roux. Just kind of just dumping stuff in there and mixing on up. I can tell already our butter and some of our cheese product is already starting to melt. Okay? Lastly, our shredded cheese, cheddar Gouda, sharp cheddar Gouda, and Monterey Jack blend. I'm going to show you this great little thing right here that I have to, it's a weight to measure out my food. Love, love, love it. Just bought it on Amazon. They've got all kinds there. So, what I'm going to do is this cheese, I only need 6 ounces of it to go in our mac and cheese. So I'm going to turn it on. Get this out your way. Then I'm going to take my glass bowl here, place it on it. Then there's a button that says 0 because we don't want to include the glass measurement into, with our cheese. So I'm going to 0 it out. So now it's ready for me to add the cheese to it. So I'm going to keep on adding until we get to 6. I run into a lot of recipes where they're just doing, ounces. And, to be precise, sometimes I like to measure out my stuff. There's some of us who are like, I don't need to measure. But, so we've got a little over 6, which is fine. So, and then when you're done with it, you can turn it off before removing. So now I'm going to add my cheese to my mac and cheese. Well, you can tell already that the cheese product and all that good stuff is already melting. Mix that some more. Oh, another thing that I love using, what I had were, they all were blocks of cheese. So I just shred it myself. If you have a food processor, and they usually come with that shred attachment. That's what I did. I just put my blocks in there. It just took me a few seconds, maybe not even a minute, because freshly shredded cheese melts so much better than the cheese that you bought already shredded. The cheese that you buy shredded, it has a coating on it to keep it from clumping up and sweating in those bags, so they don't melt as well because of that coating. So I highly recommend just stocking up on blocks, which really are cheaper than the shredded, and shredding your own. Invest in, you know, maybe a food processor or do it by hand. Okay, I think that looks great. Mostly everything is melted. So, great thing about this Ninja is it also has an air crisp feature. So, try to get that out of there before I put my lid on there. So, this is our air crisp lid for this one. I know they have newer ones, newer models, but what I'm going to do now, putting my lid down, I'm going to switch functions. So I'm going to hit my function button, go to air crisp. We're going to do it at 375 degrees. Oops, that's my time. Let me change it. 375 degrees. And we're going to go for about 7 minutes. Great thing about air crisping or air frying is you can open the lid up and check at any time. But first, before I do, I got ahead of myself. I want to sprinkle some more of this cheese that's left over on top of our mac and cheese. Let me make sure everything is, yeah. So I'm going to sprinkle some more cheese on top. Gotta have the cheese. I try to be generous with it. My family loves a nice crusty cheesy top on our mac and cheese. So I'm just basically using the remainder of what I shredded. Oh, I think that's good. Now, back to the air crisp. Since we've done that, now we're going to put our lid on, 375 for 7 minutes. I'm going to press start. Okay, so we've got just a few more seconds left. This will be 7 minutes. Lift it up and check and see. Ooh, it's a nice little golden brown to it. Also, if, like, after you put your cheese on it, if you want to sprinkle a little paprika on it, give it a little extra color, feel free to do that too. I usually do that, and I just didn't think to bring it out this time. But the air crisp function is just mainly to get it, your top a little crispy, kind of like you have it baked in the oven. That's why I like to do the air crisp on the end. Also, I know some people like, you know, if they want to put breadcrumbs on it, you know, mix a little breadcrumbs with butter and the cheddar and just sprinkle it on top there. Give you a little crunchy bite. And that's macaroni and cheese in the Ninja. So, usually I like to let it sit for a while, but I'm anxious. I want to go ahead and dig in. This smells amazing. And your cheeses, you can use whatever, you know, blend you want to use. So it's whatever to your liking. Okay. Try and get, you know, ooh, it's nice and creamy. Uh-oh. See, get a little more. Hasn't set completely yet, so it is real creamy. I'm going to try to get some of that crunchy top, but kind of going at the bottom of it. So, there's our macaroni and cheese. Like I say, usually I like to let it set, but I'm going to go ahead and try some of this. Very good, very cheesy. I can taste those seasonings in there. Nothing's overpowering too much. And it's just nice and creamy. And I know as more and more as it sits, it'll thicken up. So thank you guys for joining me. Hit that like button, subscribe. Feel free to share, tell others about Lily Loves to Cook. And I look forward to seeing you guys back here again. Thanks. Bye.